again to another exciting Encountering Jesus, where I invite you to put aside what you know or what you think you know about Jesus and look at him afresh as we go through John's Gospel, John's eyewitness account of what happened when Jesus walked on the earth. And we all do it over a cuppa. And last time we looked at Jesus' fulfilment of God's purposes, where after raising Lazarus from the dead, the chief priest Caiaphas, he prophesied that it's better for one man to die for the nation than there to be a riot. And he was prophesying that Jesus was going to die not just for Israel, but for the whole of the world. And this time we are going to be looking at Jesus, the Anointed One. But as always, if you're enjoying this series, why not like and subscribe and click the button, and you'll never miss another episode. So today we're going to be looking at John chapter 12, verses 1 to 11. And I'm going to be using the New Living Translation, but you can follow along on the screen, or you can use whatever translation you like. So we're going to do John chapter 12, verses 1 to 11. 6 days before the Passover celebration began, Jesus arrived in Bethany, the home of Lazarus, the man he had raised from the dead. A dinner was prepared in Jesus' honor. Martha served, and Lazarus was among those who ate with him. Then Mary took a 12-ounce jar of expensive perfume made from the essence of nard, and she anointed Jesus' feet with it, wiping his feet with her hair. The house was filled with the fragrance. But Judas Iscariot, the disciple who would soon betray him, said, "That perfume was worth a year's wages. It should have been sold and the money given to the poor." Not that he cared for the poor, he was a thief, and since he was in charge of the disciples' money, he often stole some for himself. Jesus replied, "Leave her alone. She did this in preparation for my burial. You will always have the poor among you, but you will not always have me." And when all the people heard of Jesus' arrival, they flocked to see him, and also to see Lazarus, the man Jesus raised from the dead. Then the leading priest decided to kill Lazarus too, for it was because of him that many of the people had deserted them and believed in Jesus. So if you were going to spend your life savings, I wonder, what would you spend it on? Maybe it'd be a trip around the world, or maybe a new car, or perhaps put in an extension on the house. You might blow your savings on, I don't know, sending your children to university, or you might just give the money to charity. Whatever the case, having savings is always good. It's always good to put money away for a rainy day. And when we look at John's account in chapter 12, this is just after Jesus has raised Lazarus from the dead, and Jesus is in Lazarus' house, and they're all there. Martha's there, Mary's there, all the disciples are there, and Lazarus is there too. And they're all just having a meal. I mean, can you imagine? Someone has been raised from the dead after 4 days, and they're raised from the dead, and they're ecstatic, and they want to honor Jesus. And it's 6 days before the Passover. So this Passover is very, very significant. And, well, they don't know it's significant, but Jesus does know it's significant. And the thing is, the crowds are starting to gather too, because news has spread that Lazarus has been raised from the dead after 4 days. And people are starting to believe in him. And John tells us that the chief priests now not only want to kill Jesus, but they've got Lazarus on their most wanted list too. Now, we don't know what's happening in this meal, but you know, it's a typical family meal, family and friends, everyone's having a good time. Martha is serving, and then Mary slips away, and she comes back with this bottle of nard. This is like Chanel number 5. This is the Chanel number 5 of 2,000 years ago. And she does something extraordinary. She empties it over Jesus's feet. She anoints his feet. And then she wipes the perfume. She wipes his feet with her hair. And the whole house is filled with this amazing perfume. Can you imagine emptying a whole bottle of perfume? You know, not just a tsk, but a whole bottle of perfume over someone's feet. And then she just wipes his feet with her hair. And this perfume that she's saving up, this is her most precious thing. This is her life savings. This is her most probably, she's a single woman, this is her dowry. This is what would be part of what she gives to her husband. She's been saving this up for ages and ages. And then she pours it over Jesus' feet because she loves him so much. And what happens? The disciples are like, what's happening? What's she doing? You know? And Judas is there going, what's she doing wasting this perfume? It could have been used. It could have been used to feed the poor and help the poor. And she's pouring. And the thing is, right, even though John says that Judas was a thief and he used to steal the disciples' money, all the disciples would have been thinking the same. What a waste. What is the woman doing? She's deranged. But Jesus is quick to correct him. He says he is about to die. And Mary, in her love for Jesus, has unwittingly anointed him. Anointed his feet and dried his feet with her hair. What an amazing, it's almost a sensual image of her love for Jesus. The question is, you know, who was right? If we were sitting in that room, would we be yelling out, going, what are they doing? What's she doing? But who was right? You know, Judas had been following Jesus for 3 years. He saw the miracles, he heard the teaching, and you know what? His heart wasn't changed. He was still a thief. He was still a thief, and he didn't believe. And then Mary, she didn't care how ridiculous she looked. She just wanted to give Jesus her life savings, her very, very, very best. And that's the key. That's the key to this. Because Mary looked ludicrous and Judas looked sensible. But it was Mary who loved Jesus, and it was Judas who betrayed him. It was Judas who betrayed him. And the thing is, we got to ask ourselves, she gave everything she had. Where is our security? Where do we put our trust? Where is our love? Is it in money and the things we can buy, or is it in God? Is it in God who provides all things? He provides all our money. He provides us the ability to earn wealth. Where is our trust? Where do you store your treasure? Because Jesus says, do not store up treasure on earth where moth and rust can attack it and make it, it doesn't go anywhere. You can't take money to the grave. He says, store up treasure in heaven. Store up treasure in heaven, the things, the eternal things, because you are an eternal being. You are made in the image of God, and you are an eternal being. So he says, store up treasure in heaven. And really, treasure in heaven is all about following Jesus. It's all about following Jesus with the right heart. You know, Judas followed Jesus for 3 years, but his heart was wrong. His heart was wrong, even though he was following Jesus. And then, Mary, she might not have followed him all the time, but when he came to the house, when he raised her brother from the dead, she just poured out her love. She poured out everything for Jesus. Don't store up treasure on earth. You could be a millionaire But if you die tomorrow, you can't take your money with you. You can't buy anything with it. It's in Jesus. You've got to store up treasure in heaven. And that's what Jesus is about. Because, as I said, it's not only Judas who most probably thought she was being ridiculous. It could have been the disciples. It could have been Lazarus as well. Who knows? Or Martha. He was vocalizing the common sense things, because common sense in this world says, well, our money is our security. Our money gives us a home. It gives us everything we need. But who provides all those things? It's God. And ultimately, when we die, our trust is in God. It's in no one else. Because when Jesus was raised from the dead, which we'll be looking at very soon in John's Gospel, all his promises came true, were raised with him. They were rubber stamped as true. So where is your trust? Is it in money? Is it in the things of this world? Or is it in Jesus? Because that's what an encounter with Jesus is all about. He's not just a wonderful teacher. He's not just a miracle worker. He's the Son of God who loves you, and gave his life for each and every one of us. So, time for reflection. What do you know about Jesus that you didn't know before? How has this affected your opinion of him? And what other questions has this raised? As always, it's all here in this book, Encountering Jesus, and personal monologues and a lot more in here, available from our website. But as I say, you can just carry on watching these videos and just encounter Jesus. Have a closer encounter with Jesus, because that's what these videos are all about. Me here sitting in front of a camera. I'm giving you the opportunity to encounter Jesus afresh, telling you what I know, what I believe, what I've experienced. I haven't got hair to wipe Jesus' feet with, but I love him. Doesn't mean I get everything right, but I love him, and I do my best. And I'm doing these videos because I love him, because I want the world to love him, so that they will have an eternal treasure in heaven. That's what it's all about. It's not just this life. It's about the eternal, the forever life to come. So there's some thoughts for you to think about. What do you know about Jesus you didn't know before? How has this changed your opinion of him? And what further questions has it raised? There's big questions there, big questions. Where do you put in your faith? I, for one, am trusted in Jesus. So until next time.